position of the eye on the hook is the length of the eye from the bend of the hook to the end of the eye, which is right about there. To start the eye, I go 3 wraps in one direction, and then 3 more wraps back in the other direction, and that will straighten out the eye. And then a series of wraps until that eye gets really solid. I never really counted how many you do, but you get a nice solid eye, and then after that you wrap around the base of the eye, and that locks the material in. The next stage is to add the flash. We've got Flashaboo 6909, I believe is the number. It's just a pearl Flashaboo. When you cut the material, you want to think of this as half the material you're going to take this material and fold it over, so you can't get too much. You want to get just enough, about half of the material you want on the finished fly. We tie it in behind the eye, fold the material back, and secure it to the hook. The Flashaboo's cut square on the end, and that seems to get the maximum amount of flash from this fly. And as this fly goes through the water, it's going to be pulled through the water and hesitated or paused, and the fly drops. And as this fly drops, that tail is going to wiggle and move. And that's why we cut them square. If you taper that end, it has less motion back there. Okay, the thread wound fairly tight up to there. And that's going to be the body of the fly. We're going to take the fly and epoxy the entire body of the fly now. And when that dries, you add the belly section to it. Most fish are light on the bottom, so we're using white for the belly. Okay.
You're okay.
Okay.
That's why we do redundancy.
That's what we do.
Take 357. Anyway.
That's it? We're getting better.
Yeah. Okay. So the material's cut square at this point. So we're going to taper this material. And I'll start with my fingers in the center material and just pull some of it out. And just keep pulling material out, twisting my fingers a little bit, and creating a taper in the material. The length of the belly is going to be short from the tail, probably half an inch or so. You want that to extend past the body of the fly, so it gives a little bit more flash, a little bit more action. Okay, now you start with your thread on the back of the eye. Hold the material down. I'll bring the thread around the front of the eye and then pull back so it draws the material in tight to the eyes. It gives you a nice shape to the eye. The material's tied in, then we'll take this material and fold it back over the top. Helps with the durability of the fly to fold materials. We fold materials, it can't pull out. It'll tear, but it won't pull out. I'm going to take your scissors, and I'll just drag the scissors across the back. It takes a good sharp pair of scissors to do this. And we're doing that, we're creating a taper in the material, so it's not so blocky looking. We're creating a bait fish, not a brush. So we want that thing to look tapered and alive. Once that portion is done, we're going to then again epoxy. This will be the second stage of epoxy. We'll epoxy that in. At this point, you can, before you epoxy it, at this point you can add the gill flash to it. Gill flash is okay. And the gill flash is an anadromous brush from Enrico Puglisi. We'll take the material, cut a section of it, and I'll draw it back. Just tease it with your fingers, and you'll see the taper form of that. Hold it down across the back of the eyes. Draw it out a bit, and it pulls that material along the sides of the body. As you can see, it forms a V underneath the body, and that's kind of a gill flash that fish will have as they're swimming through the water. It's not a really red flash, but it's just a flash of material. Gives the impression of something alive. Okay. Now you epoxy that section. This will be epoxied completely and dry. And after that's done, you do the overwing. And then again, we taper the material, stretching it out, creating a little bit of taper to it. The material is tied on both sides of the hook, about the same length as the belly section. So we've got it there, and now we're going to taper, we're going to double it over again. And then taper it with the scissors again. Now this forms a V, which will be the base of the overwing. So as the overwing gets tied in, it's going to sit right in between and on top of that middle portion of material. And again, this material's been tapered, so it gives it a nice bait fish look to it. I'm going to make it shorter than the overall tail. As you can see there, the material falls short. Tie the overwing in. We're doubling it back over again. And probably 2 layers of thread or so, just to secure it in the spot. We're going to take it, taper the material again. So then again, we're building a fly that has some shape to it. Then whip finish it.
Lost what's happening.
And that's it. We're done.